These guys are ridiculous. These guys are ridiculous.
Now, how about them damn Celtics?
And we are back with another okay. And we are back with another How About Them Celtics video. Sam and I are here recording on Thursday, September 7th. And we're talking about Jayson Tatum today. More specifically, we're talking about Jayson Tatum and Luka Doncic. Stephen A. Smith of ESPN, obviously, recently went on Shannon Sharp's podcast, Club Shay Shay, which is quite the name. And basically, Stephen A. made the case that Jayson Tatum is better than Luka Doncic. They did the typical, it's September, let's debate something debate, whatever it is. And this is what Stephen A. Smith had to say. I can only assume Shannon Sharp debated against him for the sake of TV or content, but Stephen A. Smith said, I saw Jayson Tatum drop 46 in a closeout playoff game in Milwaukee. I saw Jayson Tatum handle his business in a game 7. I've seen a young Jayson Tatum, who ain't even 27 years of age yet, be a primary option on a team that's gone to 5 conference championship series in an NBA Finals. I know we've talked about Tatum versus Doncic in the context of player rankings for videos in the past. I think we both put Doncic ahead of Tatum. I do think it's a lot closer than a lot of people like to think, though. I do think it's very close. I think the rankings right now are probably Jokic and Giannis up there in tier 1 with each other. And then there's like the Tatum, Luka, Embiid, KD tier. And then it goes, and maybe Devin Booker if you want to throw him in there, or Steph too. You know what I'm saying? I think those two are at the top, and then it gets into like who is filling out the rest of the top 5 following them. And so they're close.
I think Luka's averages are more exciting, but I don't think the team's success has really been there yet. He has been to the conference finals. He's been pretty decent in the playoffs, but the Celtics have had a more sustained run of success, albeit with a deeper roster, a more solidly constructed roster. So it's kind of unfair to use that as the only measuring stick, but kind of like Stephen A. Smith says, like, okay, well, he's been the guy that has like propelled them when the going gets tough. There's that 46-point game in Milwaukee. He had the 50-point game 7 against Philly. He had the massive fourth quarter against Philly in game 6, even though he was shit the whole game. Like, there are moments in the playoffs where you can point to Tatum and be like, wow, I can't believe he did this. Luka, can you really think of any off the top of your head? He had a game winner in the bubble. In fairness to him, we aren't Mavs guys. We're not Mavs fans. We're not watching every Mavs playoff game, and it's not burned into our brain if he has like a monster game. But I feel like a lot more people have those Tatum performances burned into their brains, and they remember them because they were just such huge stories at the time. I don't remember anything like that with Luka, except for him looking at Devin Booker when they were up a zillion.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to say, well, up a zillion, yes, but that's because Luka got them up a zillion. Like, I'm not going to discredit him for killing the Suns.
No,
like,
that's not what I'm saying either, but that's the only one. I mean, they killed the Suns, who won 60 games on their home floor in a game 7. Terrible from Phoenix.
Yep. The Clippers, he game winner the Clippers, but he lost in those rounds. He did make a Western Conference Finals run, I'll say, with a pretty bad roster. Or not, it wasn't a bad roster that year. It was okay, but it just wasn't very balanced. Like, they had like their best 3 players were all guards. It was him, Jalen Brunson, Spencer Dinwiddie, and then like Dorian Finney-Smith was the next best player on the team. So I'll give him his credit for carrying worse rosters. You can make an argument that that's the reason why his stats look more impressive than Tatum's too, because he's just had not as many great guys around him. I did pull this up. Basketball Reference, you can compare players, so I figured we could take a look and just see how they compare averages wise. The rest of the stuff, Luka does have the better of Tatum in the regular season, 5 and 4. The Mavericks always seem to hit a game winner on the Celtics somehow. They just always play the Celtics well in the regular season. I remember when we were talking about the 2022 finals, we both I don't want to see Luka because he's annoying. From that context, obviously Luka has the edge in all of the statistical categories. Again, though, largely because the Mavericks aren't as good, so he has had to do more. I think the context that a lot of people forget about, which I bring up probably too often at this point, defense. Jayson Tatum is one of the best defenders in the NBA. He just doesn't get the credit because of everything he does in the offensive end. Luka, for his credit, he's gotten better on defense. Like he's improved throughout his NBA career, but it's not even close. Like you could look, oh, they have the same steals per game. The steals and blocks are not a metric of defensive impact, steals especially. Blocks can be, but steals especially are not. Like you just like Allen Iverson had averaged 2 steals a game. You're gonna say he was a plus defender, right? Jayson Tatum is a much, much, much better defender than Luka Doncic. He's a two-way player. He will guard the best player on the opposing team, including Luka. I wonder how they fared against each other. But I mean, Luka definitely has the stats, like 4-time first team All NBA for Luka in 5 years is fucking crazy. So I'll give him the credit. Like he's a phenomenal player. And like the way he can carry an offense is the reason I feel like I might have, like, for example, him at 4, Tatum at 5, but it is because of the defensive impact and the success. The gap is right there. And like, I mean, just look at the plus minus. Obviously Tatum's gonna have better because his teams were better, but you could look at all these advanced stats. Like I bet if you look, I don't want to pull it up here. Look at what the Mavs record is with Luka off the court. Like it's got to be fucking terrible, right? And I'm not saying that Celtics without Tatum is great, but it's probably a lot better than what the Mavericks have done without Luka.
Yeah, I mean, Dallas missed the playoffs last year because Luka got hurt. Kind of. Like they brought in Kyrie. The two didn't win any games together in their first couple performances either. But Luka goes down and then they just skid out of the playoff race. Like that was a tight race in the West. They were fourth when they landed Kyrie. And then Luka goes down and that team can't play. So he absolutely does have a big impact on how well the Mavericks fare against these other NBA teams. But I'm really not sure that if he was on the Celtics get much better either. I think his play style is just not, it doesn't feel like winning basketball a lot of the time. It's like he's playing my career.
New FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets, guaranteed. Plus, all customers who bet $5 will get $100 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube at YouTube TV.
Sure. No, I see what you're saying. And for what it's worth, they have similar win percentages. The since let me I want to find the exact stat since the rookie year. I Googled what is the Mavericks record without Luka Doncic since he was drafted. They're 27-36. Since Tatum was drafted, the Celtics are 14-19, which first of all, crazy that Tatum has been that consistently healthy in playing in those games, knock on wood. But
wait, what games?
The Celtics are 14-19 without Tatum since 2017.
Okay. I was like, wait a minute. How do they have a losing record in any stretch without Tatum or with Tatum since he was drafted? Okay, makes sense.
Without Tatum, yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're good. And so I guess it's comparable. I understand why it's easy to say, oh, this isn't winning basketball, but like, what would you rather Luka do at that point? Because who's like, obviously, he had Kyrie at the end of this past year, but that's a very small sample size. Past that, like, give the ball to Spencer Dinwiddie more, give the ball to, and you could say Jalen Brunson, but Jalen Brunson wasn't Jalen Brunson until that playoff run.
Not give the ball to player X. It's pass the ball, move off the ball, like cut off your big men, like make the defense have to shift around. If you're a team of 5 trying to defend Luka with the other 5 standing around, it's a lot easier than if Luka is giving the ball up, bouncing around the court. This goes hand in hand with him getting into better shape this summer, which you may see. You may see more off the ball with Luka. But one thing and one player who Luka is consistently compared to is Bird, probably because they're both white guys and they're both nasty. But when people talk about Bird, they always talk about he gave the ball up, he cut off the ball, sticking with Bird. It wasn't in his hands. It was pinging around the floor. Dallas might not necessarily have the roster for it to do exactly that, but it's not impossible for basketball to be played like that.
That's what I was going to say. I understand the idea of the comparison, but when Larry Bird is passing to Kevin McHale and Robert Parrish and Luka is passing to Dwight Powell and whatever, it's a little bit, I don't think that's a completely fair example to say like, oh, just pass the ball more.
It's not apples to apples completely, but it's also not apples to oranges. Like you can still play basketball that way.
Yes, but I don't think the Mavericks would win as much if they played that way versus how they play. I'll put it that way.
Who knows?
And I do think the perfect thing to look at for your argument is look at how well they played when they had another guy who Luka could pass it off to and handle the ball. When Jalen Brunson was becoming Jalen Brunson, they made the Western Conference Finals, and I think you can make an argument that he can be that with Luka. with Kyrie once they get in the mix together, and I think that'll be good. And I do think this current iteration of the Mavericks is probably the best team Luka's ever gonna have played with Grant there, with Luka, Kyrie there, with these rookies they brought in, Seth Curry moving off the ball. Like I do think he has a lot of good pieces there to play with. I just don't think Luka has had the correct help to build a winning team around him, and I do think I'll say this. As great as Luka is, I think it's harder to build a winning team around him than Jayson Tatum because of his unique play style. I don't think we should use that to detract from how good he is. I just think it's a lot harder to find the pieces, just like it's harder to build a team around Joel Embiid because he's going to be in the post all the time, or it's harder to build around a team around Giannis, which the Bucks did because he can't shoot threes, right? There are no real holes in Jayson Tatum's game. There's just things that he needs to improve upon a little bit, like be a better pull-up jump shooter, which he was earlier in his career. Be more consistent. Like the biggest knocks on Tatum have nothing to do with his game itself. It's how consistently he can do it, right? And so I think that's why it's easier to build a team around Tatum. And maybe for that reason, you think Tatum's right there. If you want my like off the dome rankings of NBA players right now, it's probably like Jokic, Giannis, Steph Curry, and then a mix of fucking KD, Tatum, Luka, or I'm forgetting a big one. Embiid. Embiid at 4 and 5, and then the other two at 5, 6 and 7. And so I think Tatum's right in that mix with Luka. If like gun to my head, I'd probably say Luka at 4, Tatum at 5, KD at 6, Embiid at 7. Might get hate for that, but I do think it's the gap between Tatum and Luka is closing every year. Luka doesn't make a playoff run or improve on the defensive end.
Yeah, I think to truly reach his potential, it's going to have to include defense, which you could see this year. Like you see him getting into shape. All the videos of him running up the stairs and things like that this summer, it seems to be a big point of emphasis for Luka.
And in Luka's defense, not that it's the ideal scenario, teams have been able to build teams around stars who don't play a ton of defense. Like perfect example, the Mavericks. Dirk Nowitzki wasn't a great defender. He wasn't a good defender. And they built a good team around him because they put good defenders around him in Sean Marion, Tyson Chandler, Jason Kidd, and they just filled him with a team that suited his needs. And so if there was ever an organization that knew how to build a team around a star like Luka, it's probably Dallas. So we'll see what happens. But I'd probably put Luka like one spot ahead of Tatum for now, but the gap is closing. But
I really turned into an old man this video where I was like, they need to play like Bird.
Yeah, that was an interesting. That was.
I do think it's a good point. Like, I wonder how great of a potential certain teams could reach if they did like just purely just move the ball more. I think it's an issue all around. Like
I also do think
ball movement in the league anymore.
I think ball movement is good, but I do think there's such a thing as too much ball movement.
No,
like
it's true.
Overpassing. And so
I think their shots when they're there.
There's a balance. There's definitely a balance. Like, I mean, you look at the league. I can pull it up, I bet, quick. I wonder, like, I bet if you look at the teams who passed the most, like you just look at the stats for most passes in a game, I bet it's not like most passes.
There's no correlation.
Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying? So,
well, I think that's because in today's league, they're not necessarily running plays to get guys looks in certain spots because they're really trying to get either threes or layups, and that's it. There's no, oh, we want to hit Tatum on a cut to the elbow. Let's just use the Avery Bradley play that you saw them run a zillion times from, 2015 to 17. Okay, that was an action they were running because they wanted to get him the ball in a spot that he could be the most effective. Now it's you either shoot threes or you're good inside, and that's it. There's no being effective in your own way anymore.
Yeah, no, and I just found it here. This year, most passes was the Golden State Warriors, which makes sense. They outpassed other teams by about 1,000, which is kind of crazy. Second most was the Pacers, then the Kings, the Pelicans, Timberwolves. But then you look at the least most: Hawks, Lakers, Pistons, Magic, Cavs, Bucks, Jazz, Magic, Grizzlies. So like there's good teams on both ends of the spectrum. And I bet if you look back to like 2013, 14, first is going to be the Spurs by a mile, right? Like, so you've seen success in both ways. And I think you've seen both iterations, both styles of team win championships. Like I do understand the desire for more passing, but I do think there's such a thing as overpassing, and it's just a different league. And again, in the context of Luka versus Bird, again, passing to McHale and Parrish and having them pass back versus passing to whatever this past year's Mavs team was, is odd. It's just
well, even then, if you really want to find the Bird guy of this modern NBA, it's Jokic, and they just won. So
Sure. Yeah.
And they won with really good ball movement because he's so effective in that way.
And really
like
good
Jokic isn't really often coming up the court and sitting on the ball for a whole possession.
No, he also has really, really good players around him. I think Luka had a really shit team this past year. And the last
I'm not saying this year. I'm just saying in general.
Sure, I know. I'm just saying we could all clamor for Luka to pass the ball more. And I think the time he had the best player to pass to, he made the Western Conference Finals. And outside of that, I'm playing devil's advocate mainly, but like,
all right, end the video. I'm done. Getting hungry.
You do it then.
Thank you very much for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of these little bickerings that we do every day. You could also follow us on Playback. During the season, Jack and I will have some stakes as we head to Vegas to officially watch the NBA in-season tournament Eastern Final. So if the Celtics get there, it'll be a lot of fun for us to go. But as they make their way, we're going to be having a lot right on the games. So maybe it'll be fun to watch us commiserate. You can find us on socials at How About Them C's, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Facebook is just the name of the podcast. You can follow Jack on Twitter at JackSmunNBA, and you can follow me at SamLaFranceNBA. That's it for us.
Taco, come on.
Taco's having some fun here.
That is bogus. These guys are ridiculous.